Today we are joined by Marco Marangoni, the CEO of White Pearl Technology. Welcome.
Hi, Michael. Thank you for inviting me. How are you doing?
I am doing fine, thank you. How are you doing? You just released the report for the first half of 2023. Could you summarize the period?
Look, I think, first of all, thank you, because we did an excellent work as team, and the results is, I think, pretty much clear. Is a stunning result. So, what can I say? It's well, first of all, it's not a surprise to have this kind of growth, and I believe we will have more surprises in the next future, especially this year.
Indeed, if we take a look at the figures that you reported for the period, your revenues increased year to year by 48%, reaching this period 117 million Swedish crowns. You allotted this to high organic growth. Could you elaborate on what drove it? Look,
this is not something we did basically just in the first 6 months. It's a really good work we prepared starting from the last year. So we booked several orders, and we did an amazing work in terms to make a strong demand generation. So we always had a really good pipe, and of course, in addition to our really good work and commercial work, this finally is the result. So I think it's not something happened in just 1 or 2 months. It's a work we are doing. I think during across the last 12 months. It's something really well done by our commercial and marketing sectors.
The strongest growth appeared in your subscription-based revenues, increasing by 75%. What is driving demand?
Mostly, it's coming. This is coming from basically from third-party subscription, but the most important part is probably coming from our solutions. So we are growing with our solution. It's a really good news. It means that we will have probably more and more revenue coming from really good revenue, because this will produce a really good profit, since our solution coming from our own IPs, our own portfolio.
You introduce your CEO letter by talking about the macroeconomic climate currently. Being a global IT group, could you summarize how conditions has developed in your markets?
Well, the point is we are really careful, and we are working. We were really having a really good attention in terms to decide the strategy where we are normally developing works. You are using different caps in different places in the world. So we are pretty much careful in terms to keep our costs under control, and this is a big value, because we are always still keeping our competitivity. So it's a really good sign we are offering to our customers all the time, and our customers, I think, they are appreciating this because we have a really good upselling. So it means that customers are believing in our pricing models, in our ways to do business, and of course in our methodology. So we can absolutely give them the opportunity to save money and to receive a really high quality work. So these conditions are the main reason, because we are going in the right direction, and we are receiving a really good results, even during a special period like this one, where inflation worldwide is raising, and we are still competitive. We are still competitive even if worldwide there is this kind of condition.
You mentioned upselling there. Could you tell us anything about how upselling affects your margins?
Upselling, it's a consequence of a really good quality work, because if customers are really happy about what we are doing, and especially the big customers are happy, it means that we are all the time receiving new proposals, new ideas, new projects. And this is, I think, it's something. It's a big stimulation for our technical teams and commercial teams, because we are still having a really strong maintenance, stronger customer base. This is, I think, it's really important. For this reason, I think the upselling is a really important component. But of course, we are adapting our strategy also to have more and more new customers, and this is something that will happen especially during the next period. So in H2.
In the question before that, you talked a little bit about inflation, how you've not really been affected by it, and you write also in the report that currency risk has also been mitigated. How do you do it?
Yeah, as explained, we have a way to keep under control our costs, splitting the risk between across different regions, having different teams working where we are more rentable in terms of production, in terms of technical delivery. So we are using and moving the production and the delivery across different regions, and this is creating the condition to keep our costs under control. Of course, it's a continuous work, because it's not. The inflation is a variable across the world, but we are pretty. I think we are doing a really an excellent work in terms to understand where we need to start and creating the work and delivering using the right place, using the right teams, and so it's. I think the key of this success is our global presence, because we have a different presence in different places. They are not in the same time under the pressure of the inflation. So this is something is really helpful in terms to have this kind of results. Okay.
Can you tell us anything about the pipeline for the second half of this year?
Yeah. Well, it's pretty. I think this is something, in my opinion, really good. I'm really happy to say that we are around. We have a pipe today. Our current pipe is around 480 million SEK. So it's a huge pipe. I cannot say exactly, but a really important rate of this pipe is already committed. So it's. I think the future will give us more and more really nice surprise. This is what can I say today. And of course, this pipe is not 100% covering, and will influence 100% the second half. Probably will have an influence also in different other years. But it's what we have today, and thinking that we can build more and more. I think it's an amazing results, and we can say without any problem that we don't have any limit. We don't have any limit.
Your acquisitions continue. You signed a letter of intent to acquire South African ISSC. Tell us more about the company.
The company is, they are an interesting company with expertise more in the Microsoft world. It's something with really big projects of expansion in Africa and Middle East. It's an interesting company, but it's first of all, I really would like to say that we are still in progress in terms of due diligence. So the analysis is not complete yet. We can say something when the analysis will be completed, the due diligence. We hope that we can complete it in a really short time, which should be great. But it will be probably not the only one target planned, of course, for us. We are still planning, of course, to open the European market, especially in Sweden. So it's part of our research and our strategy to open as soon as possible there. But it's most important point is, yes, very interesting, good, really interesting operations, but what we have today is the result of a full organic growth. So yes, these operations could help us to grow more, but thinking that this is just what we produced until now is the result of an organic work. I think it's a really big push in order to have a really good result at the end of the year.
You hope to have the acquisition completed in a very short time. Could you be more thorough?
Well, it's not depending on directly. It's depending mostly on if we are talking about a specific company in South Africa. Well, this is a process. Must be completed according to best practices, because of course we need to save, we need to protect the capital, and we need to do a really good business. So we know that we will do, but we must be sure about the future in terms of a new acquisition. Since we are looking for the right, really good opportunities. Really good opportunities in each market. In this case, we are looking for really good opportunities in Sweden. We are investing a lot of time in order to make the research, to make analysis before, to make the contacts with the potential candidates. And then we will do, of course, we will follow up. We will follow our best practices in terms to make an analysis. But this will take time, absolutely, and we must be sure in terms to do the right purchasing, the right acquisition. So I'm not sure when exactly we will be able to make an announcement. But we hope to do that during the next 6 months. This is our idea and our hope. Okay.
You're still relatively new to the stock market, and I thought we'd talk a little bit about communications to shareholders. Moving forward in your reports, have you considered what sort of key figures and statistics you will report?
I think we have a lot of information, data, and a lot to talk about us. And in the future, we will talk and we will add more variables in order to show our quality. I'm just thinking about new products and new services, new line of businesses, new regions where we will be absolutely, we will produce a new results, a new revenue. Also, what I would like to also underline new economy segments, because we are working with the public sector, we are working with a large enterprise, we are working with a medium enterprise, but we need to grow also in the small medium enterprise segment. So there are so many variables we should consider in the next future. And I think it will be really interesting, because we will produce more and more information, and I think a really I'm sure about that, really good results.
As we reach the end then, Marco, tell us, why should shareholders consider White Pearl Technologies in their portfolio?
Well, thank you for asking. My opinion, my humble opinion is White Pearl Technology is not the typical company where to consider just in to keep to where the investor should keep should consider for the next for just a small period to invest for just a small period. This is thinking about the results, thinking about the potential, thinking about what we currently have in our pipe, and what we will probably, because it's in part we already have committed orders and works. So thinking about all this scenario and the potential we have in terms to grow, in my opinion, this is a company where investors should think more in a long term, not just in a really short term. This is not a typical company where where the investors could make a transaction in a really short term. I think it's a really good opportunity where investors can absolutely gain during if they will save, they will keep the trust for a long term. So my expectation is investors will understand, will analyze our results, our reports, our story, and will probably, I hope, understand the importance to keep us in really high consideration as a really good investment. This is my opinion, because as looking inside, watching what's going on inside this company, I see only a huge potential and a really good, really nice future. This is what I can see, what I can share today. So this is my suggestion to the investors, to trust in our potential. This is what I would like to share with them.
Well, Marco, thank you very much for being here and answering my questions.
Thank you for the invite. Thank you so much.